to Sofa. I'm Jenny Sargeant, a partner in our real estate team. So on the Sofa, we've been spending a lot of time talking about the different trends emerging as we come out of lockdown and the opportunities that our clients are exploring. But opportunities are all about timing, and timing is all about being ready. So I'm joined today by Ella Leonard, who's head of our funds and finance group at Fladgate, to talk about our experience in preparing our clients to be ready and make the most of opportunities and investments. Welcome to the Sofa, Ella.
Hello Jenny, nice to be here.
Can you tell us a bit more about how you help our clients get their ducks in a row so that they can maximise opportunities?
Of course, I would say by talking early and talking often. We know that Fladgate's got so many innovative and ambitious clients, and it's our role to ensure that when they spot opportunities, they're completely ready to take advantage of them. And we can already see that in this stage of the cycle that there are many opportunities coming. And I suppose firstly, that means being really clear about the fund's investment strategy, differentiating from the strategy of competitors. Will that strategy benefit from an open-ended or a closed-ended fund structure? What are those assets being targeted? How do those assets behave? And are there any nuances to that behaviour which will dictate timing or structure? I'll give you an example. We're acting for Future Generation in the specialist student accommodation sector. And we need to ensure when we're talking to them that we work backwards from the date on which the accommodation is needed for those students at the beginning of an academic year. Missing that date is simply not an option. We have to be aware very clearly from the beginning. Secondly, I suppose it's vital that we have a real understanding of both the types of investors the fund will attract and where they're based. So we know, for example, of course, that institutional investors will have a separate set of investment criteria to family office or high net worth individual investors. And the fund structure needs to make it straightforward for those investors so that they clear barriers. We're not putting them in their way. And of course, allowing for the most favourable tax treatment. And it's essential that our clients can show their prospective investors that in joining up with them, not only are they going to gain all that buying power from having a larger pool of cash, and of course, experts in their field finding and managing those investment opportunities, but that tax-wise, they're not in a worse position, or at least they're in the same position as they would have been if they'd been investing directly. So investors will want to understand and know as much as possible about the fund's goals. Another example would be acting for 23 Capital on their 3 billion plus sports, music and entertainment funding platforms. And we were able to help them create a whole series of structures which supported the requirements of both the bank debt provider and the very particular set of equity providers being SEC regulated lead feeder funds. This allowed them to be ready to help their sports team and musician clients very quickly as those opportunities arise, as they do in both those businesses. And then, of course, it's really, really important to have thought through regulatory requirements, not very popular, but very, very important. And most importantly, I am really, really interested to hear how my clients want to make their money from the fund structure we're putting together. Will they take a carry? How will they incentivise their senior management teams? What's the right hurdle rate, making the fund a good investment opportunity and a good reward for their skills, innovation and human capital? And of course, what we're trying to do is bring our wide-ranging experience in the fund formation area and using some really smart thinking to assist our clients go round or perhaps even step or jump over any issues identified during those early discussions. So they're ready to go when they want to, when they spot an opportunity in the market.
And talking about jumping over hurdles, what do you think are the pitfalls for the unwary?
Well, I think quite often we see very, very keen, of course, fund promoters and managers. And one of the biggest but most understandable dangers for them is focusing on the asset, which is the bit they're really interested in, before concentrating on the fundraise. And we know that many of our clients are at the cutting edge of tech or green energy developments, for example. But in order that they have the necessary investment that they need to take that success further, they need to progress the fundraise in parallel and give it enough time and concentration. So I would say a big pitfall is underestimating the challenge of raising capital. Remember that investors want to see that the fund manager has their own money at risk in the project before committing their own.
Sure. We've been hearing a lot from others on the sofa about new and accelerating growth sectors. Do you see any longer term trends developing in terms of investor appetite and structuring?
Well, I suppose it won't surprise you to know that the growth areas in investment funds echo those highlighted by previous sofa guests. Other people will have to go back and have a look at those previous interviews. But debt funds appear to be busier than ever, picking up the slack left by senior lenders who are continuing to decrease leverage. And of course, those debt funds then are filling a larger funding gap as a result. And then fintech, sustainable energy, green energy and renewables, as well as logistics, are all interesting investors increasingly. And I think it's quite interesting to observe that even in this very challenging time, cutting edge real estate propositions are also getting traction. So we've been observing that many of our family office investor clients are increasingly concerned that their investment strategies make an impact and that they move things forward in the world, if you like, as well as being financially attractive for them. So they're actively looking for those kind of opportunities. And one other issue I think that's relevant is it's going to be interesting to see how onshore versus offshore structuring debates take shape as the next Brexit deadline approaches. But it's encouraging to see that there's still large cash inflows from Middle Eastern and Far Eastern investors in particular into the UK.
And I think you know what's coming next, Ella. I've been asking everybody who joins on the sofa for their top 3 tips for our investor clients. What are yours?
So I think investors, much like the rest of us really, have been trying to use this period while there is so much uncertainty as well as possible. And so looking out for those definite trends which are emerging, and some of them I would suggest are actually more than trends, they're real imperatives, and to think about how those imperatives will affect more traditional opportunities and of course create new ones, and then how your strengths and skills can be used to make those opportunities a springboard for you. And then to be bold, really, really bold in tapping into the invaluable experience available in the marketplace. If there's one great thing to have come out of 2020 so far, it's an obvious increase in generous knowledge sharing. So really tap into that, make use of it. And then thirdly, and you won't be surprised to hear me say this, I would, wouldn't I? Please let us help you to be ready. So come and talk to us about structuring and your opportunity early on. While you're investigating that investment opportunity, we can be supporting your process by wrapping the right structure around your ideas and then prompting you to think of the what ifs that you haven't had a chance to think about yet or focus on. And of course, to avoid all those bumps in the road ahead.
I really like that idea of wrapping that structure and support around the client's ideas, and certainly is going to put them in good stead to be opportunity ready. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's really lovely having you on the sofa.
My pleasure, Jenny. Thanks.